Well, now that summer's in full swing, I've been meaning to jump at any chance I can get to get back out here to this shelter, get back out into nature. Life gets in the way sometimes. I have other responsibilities, other things I need to do, but I've been wanting to get back out here, and this is the perfect chance because I've partnered up with Moosehead. They're on a mission to inspire Canadians to cross those tasks they've also been pushing off their to-do list to earn a beer with their name on it, for real. So maybe you're not an outdoors expert, maybe you've never even pitched a tent before, but you've been dreaming about exploring nature on your own. I'm hoping that with a little extra encouragement and some tips from me, you can do that outdoorsy adventure you've been meaning to do. Life will always be there, things will always get in the way, but that accomplished feeling of getting stuff done is worth it. So I asked you all on Instagram like a month ago what you'd like to see me do, what you'd like to see me like help you walk through outdoorsy style. I got a lot of good comments, a lot of good suggestions, but one that stood out a lot to me and Moosehead, kept seeing that comment, was how to do your first solo camp. So stick with me on this video, we're gonna do it together. So first let's address the elephant in the room. I got 2 backpacks. I'm not very far away from home and not very far away from my car either, right? So this is a how to solo camp. I wanted to give a few options of different things, hence a couple backpacks couldn't fit everything inside it. First thing I wanna say, make sure someone knows where you're going to go. Again, this is first time solo camping, right? You wanna be safe, you want someone to know. So you leave a note with your loved one, someone you can trust, whatever the case may be, at home. You write down where you're gonna be. If they know that area, you can be kind of vague. If they don't know, then give specifics, right? Another option is you can also leave a note on your car. There's pros and cons of both of that, right? I'm camping means like, hey, I'm away from my car, it's here. But another thing is like, oh, if like some of the authority sees it, they understand like, oh, this guy's just camping, everything's fine. So who knows? I know John leaves a note in his car, I tend not to. I'm not far away from my truck, like I said, so I can bail if I need to. This is the thing that I want to stress more than anything. If you're not having a good time, if something wrong happens, if you're getting allergic reaction to something, whatever the case may be, if it starts thunderstorming and you're not prepared for it, or you just don't want to be there, it's okay to leave. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be unimpressed by you. You don't have anyone to impress but yourself. You're doing this for your own well-being. You're doing this for your own safety, and you're out here to have fun, right? So if you're not having fun, bail. Come back better prepared next time, or maybe camping's not for you. Who knows? You know what I mean? But you only help yourself if you have an easy way out. That said, my walk to the car is 10 minutes from here. Not rough at all. I can carry both backpacks. I can carry one in the hand if I need to, or make 2 trips. I made 2 trips on the way in. We're back at my shelter that I built this early spring when it was still like ice on the ground. As you can see, it fell. The tripods behind fell. The ridge pole is all good, but I wanted to come back out here and check on it. This is part of the thing, right? Like getting up off your butt and going and doing the things you need to do. I've wanted to come out here. Other things have been in the way. I've been canoe tripping, and bout of salmonella wasn't great, but now I'm back out here, right? Checking on this. It's no good. We can build it up again another time. That's not for this trip. What this trip is for, solo camping your first time. So I'm going to set up a couple different shelters and kind of give you the pluses and negatives of all of them. I'm going to cook up some food, show you how I do things in a little bit more involved way. I'm just going to get a bit of bug spray on here beforehand because the mosquitoes, I'm deep in the bush here, and everything is situational and locational and seasonal dependent, right? Right now, it's middle of June in a thick bush where there's not really much breeze coming through, right? So there's going to be bugs. There will be bugs. So let's just dump everything out. We'll talk about it all pretty briefly, and then into detail with some stuff. So a backpack is super important, right? A backpack allows you to carry all your goods, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. This is like a Bushcraft style one, but I used like a JanSport from Walmart for the longest time. And if you look on the bottom of here, a good way to attach your bedroll or your blanket, whatever sleeping bag is just with some knots, with some paracord tied to the bottom. And almost all backpacks have little loops on the bottom, even if they're not outdoorsy backpacks. And again, that's what I did for the longest time. I was using Canadian Tire and Walmart gear, JanSport, whatever the case may be. So these are just Canadian jam knots. I've used them lots on my channel. You can see them all over my channel. I don't have a water source here, so I brought my own water in. That's another thing you have to think of. If you're near a lake, that's cool. If you're not, you're gonna have to lug your water in. Another reason to maybe not walk too far on your first trip. Again, situational, area, seasonal dependent. A lot of this stuff is going to be that. So I'm not gonna sit here and bore you going through everything. Let's set some stuff up. I got my new tent that I've never used before, excuse me, by Z-Packs. I got a small sleeping pad to go with it. I've got a hammock, and then I've got a tarp. So let's set up 3 separate shelters. I'm thinking that's a good spot for my tent. When you're looking for a spot for your tent, you want it to be as flat as possible, right? Which is a good spot here. Here is even flatter, but it's down. It's about a half a foot below up here. So if it's raining and rains any substantial amount, this will pool more so than up there. Situational dependent. Also, you want to look for any widowmakers. That's live. Those are all live. That's all good to go. None of that is a concern. Because in high winds, things can fall down. Branches can fall down and dead tops of trees and stuff. But all this looks good to me here. So especially because this tent is very lightweight and made of pretty lightweight material, and it's new, I don't want to puncture the bottom. So it's always a good idea to clear out a space and or bring a ground sheet with it. You can use something like Tyvek, or even like little plastic sheet would help, but I don't have one with me. So I'm going to clear out the ground as much as possible. I found a root here that I didn't know was there, so that's good too. It's not good that the root is there, it's good to find it. So a roughly clear the size of a footprint that I think I roughly have with this tent looks about right here. So I believe this is called the Z-Packs Soloplex. I bought this. They did not send it to me because I've heard nothing but good things. It's super lightweight. It's made of Cuban fiber, and this is going to replace my big Agnes tent that I always use on canoe trips. It came with, or I added, a carbon fiber pole. You could also use a trekking pole, but I don't normally bring trekking poles on canoe trips or backpacking trips. But this is the right size anyways. Got 2 little rubber pieces on it, so we're good. Here's the magic. I gotta fix that a bit. Oh, this goes forward. These tensioners are pretty cool. Let's check it out. It's kind of leaning forward a bit. I might have the angle a bit wrong, but you can see out of it. Super lightweight. I'll check the specs, but look, it's got a bathtub floor, got ventilation all the way around, letting bugs in like crazy. But it's bigger. Oh, popped out. It's bigger than my big Agnes, my little Agnes. Next, we'll set up the hammock. A good practice is to get comfortable with a saw. There's a couple different kinds of saws that you can use. This is a silky big boy. It's a couple benefits of this is that it's light, it cuts very well, and it's relatively packable, small. Downsides is 90% of people break the tips off or bend these saws. They're very easy to do that with. They cut on the pull. I believe cut in the pull and the push, but mostly on the pull. And if you only stop, like say the log is this big around, you want, like say it's longer, you want to stop like about there. You don't want to go all the way to the end with the saw. My point is you want to stop like there, so you don't accidentally do one of these, beep, and jam it. Get comfortable with the saw. It's a lot safer to use than an axe, but in my opinion, an axe is a very, very, very useful tool to know how to use and can get you farther than a saw. But if you want to be by yourself and not have to worry about it and stuff, a saw is the way to go. So this is the Silky. And then this is the Agua Canyon Boreal 21 or 24. This is a 24. Comes in 24 inch, 21 inch, and 15 inch or something along those lines. I think the small one is, I'd rather have the medium sized one than the small one. But if I could only have one, I'd get this big bad boy. Benefits, there's nothing to lose. Drawbacks is a little bit heavier, but this is a freaking badass saw. Not necessary all of the time. So you can see that, like for more serious wood processing, I'd use that, but for stuff like this, like watch this, like one or two strike saws, and it's dealing with most of these twigs. Oh my goodness, this is a big. Okay, this is another bonus. I'll show you this. So all these limbs I'm cutting off are already dead. I'm just making way for my hammock to not get poked. But check this out. This is all pitch. This is spruce pitch, and this is good for starting fires. Nice. That will help us to start the fire quite a bit. Holy smokes. Nice. Another useful tip is just like collect things whenever you see them. You know what I mean? If you're walking around, you see a birch tree or some like good firewood, whatever. If you're close to your camp, just grab it. Some of the stickiest stuff on earth right there. Okay. Now I can use all this for kindling as well. It rained quite a bit last night, so. But anyways, this is dry enough. So again, it's good to learn things, different things for different scenarios. For the longest time, guys, you know this, I wasn't a hammock guy, but there are applications where it's super useful. I absolutely love it now, and I would not have even had this experience if I didn't try it out. But it's all about finding what works for you in what situation. And part of that reason that I couldn't stand hammocks before was that I was using a sleeping pad inside the hammock because I couldn't even understand the concept of an underquilt. There were so many strings coming off it and bungees and stuff. I was overwhelmed, as I often get. But with just a little bit of practice and teaching, I can understand that all of these are just a jumbled mess and you don't really even need to worry about them. There's just hooks that you hook onto either side, for the most part at least. Like obviously, you do have to mess with them if you want to tighten it or loosen it or whatever the case may be. But it's just common sense after a while, and if you're not scared of it, kind of like I was, then it's not such a big deal. So this makes all the difference in the world. You just don't want to put all your weight on that, obviously. So when you're getting in, sitting on the hammock itself. This has a bug net. This weighs not much, and on canoe trips and things like that where it's hot weather, this is going to keep you cooler than a tent is. A tent is like a sauna. This is off the ground, and you can take the quilt off, right? The underquilt off, and get that convection, that breeze coming through and hitting you on your backside, whipping through this. Don't put a tarp up if it's super hot, or do put a tarp up if you want some shade, whatever the case may be. Very versatile. I'm actually able to fit my sleeping bag and my underquilt in this stuff sack, so that's obviously lightweight ones, but it's a bonus. These are Sea to Summit Sil Nylon stuff sacks, or compression sacks. They're my favorite. I've been using them for years. They are not that durable, to be honest with you, but if you take care of them, they'll last you a few years. you look at that compared to this stuff sack. Wild. This weighs like, feels like a piece of paper. Gear ball. Okay, let's get one more shelter up. That's a cool setup. Now under that, the possibilities are endless, right? You can put a bivvy bag in this type of weather. You can put a bivvy bag with a screen mesh, and you can camp out under that, and that's a pretty light setup for a trip, right? It's not the most comfortable thing, to be honest with you, to be stuck under a bivvy bag all night trying to escape bugs when you could be in a tent or a hammock that has more room. But if weight is if weight is a concern, this is a pretty good setup, and it's slick. If you like camping under a tarp, which I do, this is a slick setup, and you can camp all year round under it. You don't need a bivvy in 3/4 of the year. Whenever the bugs aren't there, you don't need it, right? But this is a nice setup. And this can set up as an A-frame and be more of a tent as well. You can close the sides in. But this is a good size. You can fit 2 people, person and a dog easily. Ah, piss. You could also cook under here with a little stove, like a little twig stove, which I brought. Stoves are cool. For the longest time I didn't use them. I just used fire, but it's not always applicable. Sometimes there's a fire ban, sometimes you're in a hurry, sometimes wood is scarce, sometimes you just got to be quick. So nothing wrong with a twig stove and or a little butane stove, isobutane stove, little pocket rocket MSR type thing. Nothing wrong with that at all. I use that often, especially in the morning too, like if you want to just get stuff done. But you can get your chair under here if it's raining, chill out under here. You know what I mean? I can go way farther back, especially I can pull this back if I wanted, make a little button in there and pull it back, get some more space. But this is pretty slick. Well, I'm really hungry and I've got some good food to cook up, so let's get that done. I already showed you guys my saws. These are 2 different axes I brought. Now axes can range big time. You can get your own axe and fix it up, and I've done that. Your own old axe head, fix it up, put it on a handle. That's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding. Sometimes, 90% of the times, if you get the right head, you're gonna have a better axe than you could buy new. But anyways, if you are gonna buy one, top of the line, in my opinion, Gransfors Brook Scandinavian Forest Axe. You can do everything you want with this thing, except for like split a ton of wood with it. I've marked mine up. I've been out on plenty of dates with it, and I've got probably about 15 or so notches in there for each day I've been out with it. I've been out with it more, but those were extended times. But anyways, that's a nice axe, but that's like expensive, man. Maybe upwards of $200. I don't remember, but a lot of money for an axe. You can get a Fisker's axe. A Fisker's axe is great. A little Gerber axe, all that stuff works really well. This is something I picked up at the local hardware store. This is a Husqvarna 19-inch carpenter's axe. It's brand new, obviously. Still has the tags on it. It was $100, $99.99. You can see it there. So it's still not extremely cheap, but less than half the price of that one. And check it out, it's pretty cool. It's got a carpenter head on it, flat. Sharpened it up a bit because you could use a little bit more, but we're going to test this out just as a different option today and use that with our saws. So that's all that. I wanted to mention to you about water one more time. A good filter. A good filter would be something that you can carry around easily and that you can rely on. And this Be Free has been one of the better ones I've used personally. Anyways, that said, again, there's no water here, so I'm just drinking this. Home brew, you know. And I got a disposable water bottle there too, full, so we won't go too hard on this. And let's go get us some firewood. Not a bad idea to keep some trail mix or a Cliff Bar or granola bar handy so you can grab it pretty easily. You don't really want to put off eating or drinking water if you can help it. So there's some birch bark. That's a score. We don't have to rip it off a tree or anything. Got some here. I'll bring it back and chop it up. Probably have to get some more, but pretty easy. Something else I do is, not in this situation because I'm right here, but I always take note of landmarks in case I get turned around and I don't have my compass on me, my GPS or whatever. Just different weird trees or broken off branches or things, the way things are growing oddly are good reminders of points of interest. Wood selection is a question I get asked pretty often. How do you know what good wood is, or what wood's dead, or what wood's good to burn? So this doesn't look like the greatest on the outside, and you saw when I broke it, when I got it, it just broke. But you cut it, and if you touch it with your lips, you can feel if there's any kind of moisture in it. It just feels damp on your lips. And there is a little bit in this, but I know that it will still burn. So you cannot judge wood by its cover. Don't judge wood by its bark. Also, I've got some questions or comments when I'm cutting wood like this. You're thinking it would pinch, right? Because I'm pushing down here, but I'm actually pushing on the outside of this, putting pressure on the outside of this part. When it's not too big of wood, it's easy to do. I can do it with the back end of my hand here. See how it's not binding at all, it just falls. But you can also, obviously, do it like this so that it just falls off with gravity. It tends to bounce around a little bit more that way. You can also do one of these. Wow, not far from the highway. You can do one of these, or if you want to get fancy, oh, that's a plane, not a truck. You can go, oh, that's really not great down there. You do one cut on that side, one cut on that side, do one of these. That works fine too. Just make sure your legs are far away. See how when I'm swinging, I'm not coming near myself. All right. If you do decide you want to use an axe and split wood down, it's not, in the bush, you're not going to find like a level splitting log like you do at home. Like you're going to just put it here and it's going to stay like this. This doesn't normally happen. So the process of going like this and splitting wood like that, while sometimes you can do it, 9 times out of 10 you're not going to be able to find that. But what you can do is lengthways, either swing it down on it and continue like that, or you can, and it's nice to be on your knees when you do this too, I just don't have room. You can hold it on itself, the wood on the blade, bring them both down together. As long as you keep your hand out of the way. And just pop it. Pop, lock, and drop it. Batoning is also very acceptable, depending on what crowd you run in, I guess. But as far as batoning, you don't really want to get a piece of wood, I don't know, greater than half the length of your knife in diameter. Just give her. So try not to go through too many knots that way, and if the wood's super dense, maybe don't use the batoning method, but again, situational. What? Seems to be a theme. Seems to be a theme. Always a really good idea to brace up your fire, especially in this wet condition. Like this is wet. This is wet. So if we get our fire up off of the ground, it'll give it a better chance to burn. It'll get air under it like this too, and yeah, give ourselves every little chance we have getting it going. I'll use this not so great wood as the base. There we go. Okay. Spruce pitch that we got earlier. I don't remember the other piece went, but anyways, this will do. Look at that beauty. Look at that beauty. Speaking of beauty, I didn't bring her because this is supposed to be like a solo thing, but I wouldn't worry about bringing a dog on a solo thing. I think it's still considered solo for the most part. So let's just mix this all up, open it up a bit, see if we can't light it up. Now I always carry a fire steel on me, except for when I lose it. But in the spirit of having this be a first time solo thing, we'll just use a lighter. You should always carry a lighter with you or matches regardless. Before you start, it's important to have all your stages laid out. I've got the accelerant, I've got some twigs to go on, real dry twigs to go on right after that. I got the rest of my twigs here, and then I have my fuel. And it never hurts to add a little bit of feather sticks to some of the logs there, some of the fuel. Sometimes I'll even do this and pop them off and then use these with the original kindling. And you can see it's going pretty good now already. Bubbling. I wonder how long it would just go for. But there you go, nature's fire starter. And there's nothing wrong with bringing your own fire starter or not using fire starter at all. You could just use a fire steel and feather sticks if you wanted. But this is good to know. And I could use a tiny piece of this. This is like overkill, right? Look at it go. But anyways, now you know. Knowing is half the battle. The more you know. With Joe. More you know, Joe. Yeah. Oh, almost forgot my birch bark. That's gonna do much now. Another seriously legit tip I would give you is to get yourself a sit pad. This is a custom one, but for the longest time I just used one of those foam puzzle pieces cut to the size I needed, and it's good for fanning the fire and getting your butt off of the wet, damp ground or log or whatever you're sitting on. But super, super, super useful. Blue foam pad, man. Blue foam pad. Even if it's not blue, it's a blue foam pad. Right, Kyle? That's super old school. Blue foam pad. I got some goodies to cook for brunch here, and then I got a good supper as well. But wanted to show you a couple different, greasy, couple different options of what you can do. People always ask me too, like, how do you bring steak out? It's very simple. You freeze it until the morning you leave, and then you eat it on the first night. It thaws out during the day. It's totally fine, especially in the summertime. In the winter, it won't thaw out, so don't freeze it. It doesn't need to be. But in the summertime, any other time other than the winter, freeze it. Take it out that morning that you leave. Eat it the first night, and you're golden. It's perfect. It's a nice little treat. That said, you can do hot dogs as well. You know what I mean? There's nothing saying you can't put a wiener on a stick and roast that over the fire. That's totally acceptable too. To this morning, I got some bacon. Just again, I took it out of the fridge this morning, put a few pieces in a bag, and I knew I was going to eat it quickly, so it's fine. It's not even that hot today, but still, it's fine. Not worried about bacon. And then what I did was I have some stuff in this. This is a little cook pot. So instead of putting the lid on it and trying to keep it on like that, I put a handkerchief over top of it and an elastic over top of that, and that kind of holds everything in place. Then I have my handkerchief as like a pot holder or whatever I need to use as a handkerchief itself, whatever. Inside this I have some leeks, some wild leeks we picked. So I'll cut those up. And then I have paper towels, and wrapped in the paper towels are eggs. Now these lasted a drive and a short hike in, and they're fine, and I've done it for a lot longer, just like this. Wrap them in paper towels, put them in a pot, make sure they're secure, call it good. You want them snug, but not overly snug. Lots of different options for cooking. You can do dehydrated meals, you can bring leftovers and literally warm leftovers up in a pot or a pan. It's all good. It's nothing rocket science. If I can do it, you can do it for sure. You can use a grill. You don't have to use a grill. You can use logs as a grill, or you can just throw this right up on the coals. No worries. And you don't have to use cast iron either. For the longest time, I just used a heavy-duty steel one from home. Just make sure your mom or your significant other says it's okay. All right, I got my leeks all cut up. I'm gonna put the bacon on soon. Oops. Wah, wah. Okay, let's see. Just like that. Ooh, Bushcraft. Good idea to bring leather gloves for this, and or a handkerchief. There you go. So actually one piece of gear I do need to get again is a good decent quality pair of leather gloves. All mine have burned right through. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Pull it off for a second and see. Bacon, 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 bacon. Alright, pretty happy with that. Yep, she's done. I don't like it when it gets all brown like that. We're good. Not too bad. And then, that one could use a little bit more cookings. But what do we got to put in here? This is what we're gonna do. We got our leeks. They're gonna get cooked with the eggs. So we'll take our bacon out now. And we'll throw it back in here at the end just to warm it back up. But we don't want to cook it anymore. So let those fry up. And you know what we'll do? So I already showed you just cooking right on the coals and using the logs kind of for a grill. Get a grill out. These are not hard to find. This one I think is like Canadian Tire or Walmart special type thing, so certainly not a hard item to get. And you can just actually cook a little bit more even. Let's just put this here for a minute. Cook a little bit more even with it flat, right? It's hard to get the pan completely flat when it's just on the logs. Hard to get it flat regardless. Well, that's as good as I can get it. Now I don't have a spatula, which if you want to have things not popped, you should have, but that's alright. I'm not too fussy. You can pop these yolks, make a little bit of a scrambled thing going on, but we'll just let it sit for a minute. All those delicious leeks up in there. And you know what? Spices. Spices are always good to have too. I got some for my dinner tonight, but these don't really need them with the leeks. And this cast iron is seasoned quite nicely. These hot dogs need to be flipped a while ago. Fire's doing a really good job of keeping away the bugs as well. Get this stoked up a little tiny bit. If you want to burn our hot dog though, don't burn our hot dog. Hot dog. Woo! Almost dropped the fruits. Nice. Very nice. The leeks got a little brown, which is nice. Oh wow. The leakiest eggs ever. Old Leaky Egg Joe. Leaky Egg Joe, they call me. Oh man, what a nice day. Cooking is one of the more enjoyable things I do out here. I really do enjoy the process of it when I'm not rushed. Fire it going again. Oh, it's a scrambled dough, medium. You know what? Something about a hot dog. You know? There is something about a hot dog. Oh, it's a little smoky. A little too smoky, Joe. Smoky Joe. I've been in my hammock reading and writing quite a bit, and the fire's all but gone out, but you don't need to start it again. Obviously, there's a little bit of embers or smoke coming up. You can just blow it into flame. So what I like to do is take all the pieces that are half charred and pile them tightly as close together as you can. It seems to work the best. Get them all piled on top of each other. All the half-burned pieces. And then put some new stuff on top and get blow on it, or use a blue foam pad, or a combination of the both. Starting to smoke a little bit there. The wind's blowing the same way I'm pushing it. Like the wind's blowing that away and I'm fanning it that way. So I'm not combating against the wind. The wind is certainly going to help it burst into flames. I am actually pretty tired. I think I'm gonna get a little nap in here. That's the nice thing when you're solo camping, you can decide what you want to do when you want to do it, right? If you want to go hard all day and, you know, get an early night's sleep, or get a nap and then get an early night's sleep. If you want to go canoeing, you know, go walk around, look for fungus, do whatever you want, right? That's part of it, part of the whole solo experience. And then once you get one night in, you might like it, you might not. You might want to bring people the next time. You might want to go longer by yourself the next time. That's the whole beauty of solo camping. You can figure it out and fine tune it for yourself. You gotta love it. These hammocks, you lay asymmetrical, so kind of on a 45, and you go almost flat. Alright folks, I will see you after my nap. That was a nice slow nap. Yep. pretty warm in there, to be honest, but it's a little muggy today. It's probably the hottest day it's been. Anyways, we're gonna get this fire going again. I'm hungry and cook up our food. I got some good food to cook up. Talk to you a little bit more about certain things. Now, in all honesty, in the middle of the summer, this might be a touch overkill. But for every other time of year, I always bring something like this. For an overnight, again, maybe a bit overkill, but any extended thing, when you don't know what the weather's gonna be like specifically, you gotta bring a puffy jacket, or I do at least. I gotta bring a puffy all the time. This is a down. Primloft works fine. Primloft is synthetic. Down, you're not supposed to get wet, but I got it wet tons of times. You see, people always worry about getting burn holes or poke holes through it. Yeah, it happens. You can tape it up or leave it. It is what it is. Use your stuff, and it gets dirty and used. I got like a ShamWow type towel, which always comes in handy. Last trip Will and I were on, we got caught in the rain, and there's puddles in the tent, and this helped clean it up and wipe off beauty. A little neck shamog buff type thing. Keep the bugs off, keep the sun off. You can dip it in the water and stay cool. Again, this is, I wouldn't bring that in the winter time, but I have a merino wool one I might bring. Super lightweight pants, just in case like you want to change out your wet pants at night, or if your pants are just full of mud or whatever from doing portages. Super lightweight pair of pants. Very, very lightweight merino beanie. I've had this one since before Alone, and it shows like it's this is no joke. But anyways, I really like that. It's one of my oldest pieces of gear, and that has saved my butt a few times. Long johns, long sleeve undershirt, potentially, or sorry, preferably with a hood, because if this is merino wool, and if you don't have that other toque or a toque with you, that you can substitute that. Cover your ears in the cold is always a good thing. I get heavy duty socks, smart wool, and a pair of underwear. So all that, or a variation of that, or more than that, but that's a safe bet. And if it pours, if I need extra clothes, I can put all that stuff on with what I'm wearing to up the rating on my sleeping bag. Or again, if I get wet. When I dumped in the water this year, that was one of the saving graces is that I had this spring, is that I had a change of clothes with me. Alright, we touched briefly on firewood before. As you can see, I've got a rockin' fire going right now, and I'm gonna go try to find some more firewood. I do have some stacked up there. Now what I want to get my point across is that if you're looking for firewood that needs to be dry, then you want to find dead standing firewood. And what I mean by that is exactly what it sounds. It's standing still, it's dead, it's dry. It's not leaning over, it's not laying on the ground. When it's doing those things, it can get full of water, and sometimes that's okay. But if you want it dry and nice good firewood, then dead standing is the way to go. Since we're cooking, we're going to try to use hardwood as much as possible. Just creates better coals. Now, all that said, it's completely not necessary to have bone dry wood throughout the whole fire. We know this is dry in season because the bark's peeled off and there's a natural check or crack in it. And that's totally fine. So we can bring that back with us as well. Yikes. So last night we had pierogies and bacon and stuff, so we had leftovers. I took them out of the fridge this morning and put them in this tinfoil. I was planning on just cooking them in the tinfoil, but I do have that cast iron, so I might cook it in that. We'll see. I might even do both. I got my thawed out steak. I asked my wife to pick this up for me a couple days ago when she was out, so I'm not sure what it looks like. Looks good. Looks good. Nice cut. Thawed out completely. And I got my Montreal steak spice, or actually this is the keg spice. yeah, suit to taste, I guess. You don't have to even put anything on it. You can put this right on the coals. You could put this on a stick. You could put this on a grill. I'm going to put it on a grill. Sometimes I like it on the coals, but I prefer if there's like oak coals or maple or something, I do that on. But all right, the time has come. Place this bad boy on there. I like to leave it with the seasoning on it for a few minutes before I put it on anyways. Listen to the sizzle. Light on the sizzle. Wow, surprising. Light on the sizzle. Solo camping is just like camping, but you rely upon yourself for everything, and that's part of what I like about it so much. You know what, I'm just going to try to move this flame off this steak right quick. There we go. That's why I like it so much, is that you rely on yourself. If you mess up, it's your own fault. You have to have everything you need for yourself. Nobody's going to magically just have something that you need because there's nobody there. So in that vein of thought, I have this Possibles pouch I always bring with me. I thought I'd show you things that are in it. Headlamp. Sometimes I bring 2 headlamps. You know, this one takes AAA batteries. The other one takes a charger, and I can charge it USB. A little journal. My bug spray. Butt wipe. I keep that close to heart. I have an inReach here, but you can use like a spot system or anything like that, but it's a super good idea to have something like this, especially if you find out that you do like this and you're going to go into the bush a little bit farther and more often and more remote and things like that. It's saved my butt once already. But a spot is a lot cheaper and works pretty much the same. It's got like personal medications, a cheap first aid kit. I don't want to carry a heavy one. It's just stuff that I know that I might need. I might need to flip this steak actually. Whoop! This grill, man, I don't know. Oh, playing a crazy game here. Alright, maybe it doesn't need to be flipped just yet. Yeah. Oh yeah, it does. Cool. And if I do bring a headlamp that needs a charger, or I want to watch a movie, or if I'm using my phone for GPS or anything like that, a little portable power bank is super necessary. I have, and I always carry this, a Thermarest patch kit for my sleeping pad. You don't want to not have a sleeping pad. Sleeping pad is paramount for camping. Things like a fishing license, if that's what you need. Lotion and or sunscreen. A backup water supply. This is just drops that you can purify water with. And if I needed to collect water and my other filter messed up for some reason, that's a good backup. Secondary headlamp. A strop for sharpening my belt knife at night when I'm just sitting by the fire. It's a nice thing to do. It's like meditative almost for me. Extra GoPro Pro batteries, even though I didn't bring it. And then polysporin and sunscreen and or hand lotion. So that's what I have in this. Sometimes it changes, but that's pretty much what it normally is. Again, situational dependent. But you have to personalize it for yourself, knowing that you're going to be out there alone and knowing you need everything. And you know what, also, camping near your vehicle, 10-20 minute walk away from your vehicle, you can have the luxury of leaving things in the vehicle for the first couple times if you feel the need to, and then go back to it, like an extra clothes or whatever, just things that you might think you might need. But yeah, I'm not looking down on you if you do that. I can't lie, I do that sometimes. It all depends, again, what you're doing. Alright, let's check out this steak. It's got to be almost done. This is another trick you can use if it's not working out too good cooking wise. You get a little bit of air underneath it, putting 2 logs or 2 sticks, and it's kind of like a built-in grill. Just prop that up. Try and get it as flat as possible. There you go. You can add a little bit of air underneath. And then those sticks might even catch, and that'll add to the heat too. All right, let's get this off of here. Pro tip, throw a bunch of wood on while your coals are still smoldering, especially in bug season. It will smoke for a while and then it will combust and your fire will stay strong. Oh. All right, let's dig in. Here we got a little pirogue. Oh, how's the dickens? It's very good. Oniony and bacony, cheesy, greasy, greasy. Now, in all honesty, it's a little overdone. Could have cooked it less. That's okay though. She's tender. Oh, is it ever? Woo! I'm gonna have to move again. Smoke keeps coming to my face. Oh my goodness. Pierogi boy. Bacon too. Oh! A leaf litter never hurt anybody. Cheers. It's a beautiful night. Birds are singing. This fire's stoked up again. It's gonna be dark pretty soon, I would imagine. Bugs aren't too bad. I think I'm keeping this pretty smoky, it's not so bad. I like to make myself popcorn for a little treat, a little snack at night. Let's do that, I'll show you how I do that. We used to do this at home with my mom too, but she would shake it on the stove. Shake it, Mom. So you're gonna put just enough cooking oil in to coat the bottom. Just enough that it covers the bottom. And I need a glove or a kerchief. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. I'll put this to warm up. And we'll check on that right quick. I got my popcorn kernels in this little Nalgene container. It's perfect size for them. And the way to test it to see if the oil is ready is just to drop a kernel in and see if it sizzles. Uh-oh, you don't want it tipping. No tipping on faux. Maybe not yet. I don't even know if that's enough oil actually. Put the rest in. Not much. Not much. There we go. So that one popped. We'll pour the rest in. Put the lid on. And we shall be proactive. Shake it, Mom. Shake it. See? I think shaking it actually is the way to go. Ah! Oh my God! We lost the lid. We lost the lid, boys and girls. Oh man. It's a tragedy. Alright. Gloves, eh? Gloves next time. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, my battery died halfway through. Let us see how it worked out. okay. We got no real burnt ones, but we probably got some unpopped kernels, but that's okay. It smells delicious. We got some salt and vinegar, dry rub. Put that on that. Oh, a nice little delicious nighttime snack. Perfect. It's all about the little things, you know? You gotta treat yourself right when you're out here. No shame in downloading a movie to your phone, bringing a deck of cards, playing solitaire, reading a book, any of that stuff. Totally fine. I find when I go on extended trips, I like to read. I bring an actual book and read and write. That's my big... I like actually look forward to it in the morning and nighttime when I get to camp. Man. But yeah, you gotta have fun while you're out here, because why else are you coming out, right? I don't have nobody to impress. I don't care if you go out. It doesn't matter at all to me. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But anyways, another good practice is to get your headlamp out before it gets too dark. What I like to do is just hang it around my neck, so she works. Yep. Just do one of these. And whenever I need it, it's there. And it's not on my head, because I don't like it on my head all the time. Anyway, it's getting dark. One last thing I wanted to mention is at night, everything sounds louder than it actually is. Mice will sound like deer, and little birds on the ground will sound like coyotes walking around. You don't got to worry about it. A little bit of nylon in a tent is not going to protect you any more than an open tarp. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? Practice good camp skills. Keep your food away from where you're camping as much as possible. Hang it up in a tree. Use a Kevlar bag. Use a barrel. Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's totally fine. Go out, have fun. If you don't, bail. If you do, do it again and go out and be more adventuresome. Adventuresome? Adventurous. But now that we're done for the day, the thing I'm looking forward to most is cracking open a nice, refreshing Moosehead beer. Not just because I want one, but because I earned one. And you could too. All you need to do is complete that task that you've been putting off. Maybe it's your first solo camping trip, or maybe it's something completely different. It doesn't even matter. All you need to do is go to Instagram, post what you've achieved, and tag @Moosehead, or visit beerwithyourname.com and submit your accomplishment there. Because Moosehead is a Canadian beer for those who simply get things done. Well, I hope you all liked the video. I'd love to hear in the comment section below what you're all going to accomplish to earn a beer with your name on it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.